The efforts to develop renewable energy had one time mainly practical and national reasons. 15 years ago, I asked to the foreign minister of United Arab Emirates in which area he wanted scientific cooperation with Italy. He said, in developing renewable energy. Why, I replied, you are already leaders owing to your oil. Yes, he said, but we want to continue to be the leaders when the oil will be finished. Italy had, in order to develop renewable energy, the same goal being in the opposite situation, being a country with practically no fossil fuel. Today, these practical and national reasons remain, of course, but the ethical and global reasons became more and more important, also in the feeling of the public opinion. Simply, everybody understands, the government as the kids, that the world cannot anymore bear this level of pollution. Therefore, for practical, national, most of all for ethical and global reasons, Italy, Europe, and the Arab world continue to share the same goal, the development of renewable energy, as this meeting itself today demonstrates. Before, I was speaking about 15 years ago. In the meantime, the political will, the scientific research, the investments, and consequently the results have been impressive, also if we would wish more. From 2004 to 2014, in a decade, for example, the Italian production of renewable energy grew from 6.3 to 17.1%. The European Union decided to reach 20% in 2020, and Italy is absolutely online with this goal. Italy is at the first place among the biggest European countries. The effort of Europe is part of a great effort all over the world, in which are very active also the developing countries. It is a positive situation, but with a worrying point. Precisely the performance of the two most powerful economies, United States and China, which rank respectively at the 44th and 45th place in the production of green energy. The governments take their responsibilities and fix ambitious goals, as it happened in Paris with the 2 Celsius degrees agreement among 195 nations. The governments use strong incentives for the investments. They orientate the public scientific research. Exactly the research, together with the economy of scale, gives decisive results on the prices of the renewable energy, which is not proportional to the efforts, but fortunately exponential. For example, in Italy, the cost of solar panels diminished from 2009 to 2013 in less than 5 years of 75%. The governments take their responsibilities, but this is not sufficient anymore. The contribution of the civil society is decisive. It is growing continuously, especially among the young generations. In this context, which is an ethical one, the role of the religious leaders is increasing. The Forum for Religion and Ecology of Yale in the United States, for example, gathers personalities of all the main religions of the world, from the Christian to the Hinduist, from the Islamic to the Buddhist. In this ethical context, everything is connected. Human rights, religious tolerance and dialogue, social inclusion, acceptance of the refugees, all together are related, not casually, to ecology. And in fact, the experience teaches all these standards grow and fall together. Europe, for example, has a good performance for the ethical issues previously mentioned together with ecology. Therefore, not casually, the first 10 countries in the world for the green economy are European ones. Sweden is at the top for all the human rights and, at the same time, also for the respect of environment. 52% of its energy is green. The banks are halfway between the governments and the civil society and have the most important tools to intervene practically. As this meeting demonstrates, they have also the will to do this. Pope Francis, in his recent document, we call it Encyclica on the ecology issues, wrote, "The financial crisis of 2007-2008 provided an opportunity to develop a new economy, more attentive to ethical principles and new ways of regulating speculative financial practices and virtual wealth." In fact, the executive director of the United Nations Environment Programme, Achim Steiner, speaks of a quiet revolution already on march. He observes, "Aligning the financial system for sustainability is not some far-off notion, but is already happening. Concepts such as the natural wealth and the circular green economy have moved from the margins to become the substance of economic strategies and policies for businesses and nations." So, developing the green economy is at the center of our ethical and religious debate. It is one of the decisive fields where we shall see the real capacity of the financial institutions to promote the ethical banking, which needs open mind, international vision, cooperation in this part of the world between the two borders, south and north of the Mediterranean Sea, between Europe and the Islamic countries. Religion, ethics, openness. All these topics bring once more the attention on the Islamic banking, which is in itself religious and ethical. So, let me conclude with one word about a single practical issue regarding Italy. It has a value of principle and at the same time could contribute to the Arab investments in Italy, which are a priority for our country. Our friend Hatem Abu Said insists on the necessity to adapt the legislation in order to allow the presence of Islamic banks in Italy, as it already happens in all the modern financial markets. We didn't yet achieve this simple goal. I hope that at our next meeting it will be achieved. And therefore, I ask a decisive effort to the authorities, legislators, opinion leaders who are here today, thanks to the initiative of the Union of Arab Banks.